Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I've got an exciting one for you with cards that make almost every Commander deck instantly better. Let's jump into them. Now, being a budget player, I try to keep these two budget cards myself, and they are all budget cards. That being said, I did try to keep them all underneath $1, and I was very, very, very close. But Wayfarer's Bauble is definitely one that is, of course, near and dear to my heart. Is incredibly budget-friendly, less than $1, just 17 cents for this gem. An artifact for 1, pay 2, tap. Sacrifice Wayfarer's Bauble, search your library for a basic land card, put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. This card, again, once a long, long time ago, an unknown card for the most part, and then its price spiked unexpectedly at one point. It went up to like $4 or so, and then finally, Wizards got the hint, started reprinting it, and now it is back down to 17 cents. This card is incredible because land ramp is still, well, the most effective and most well-protected kind of ramp in Commander. Still, it is the most protected kind. When it comes to destroying something, typically players aren't like, that land, let's get rid of it. So here's the thing. Being able to throw this into any deck out there, again, any deck out there at all, not having a color identity itself, and also being land ramp on turn 2 with any land combination, essentially, that aren't like, entering tapped, basically. You are able to just go, oh yeah, turn 2, oh yeah, I'll tap my island and my plains, and I'll sacrifice this, and I ramp. Yeah, you don't see that ever, basically, with anything else when it comes to land ramp and just any color. It's amazing. Go pick up this for basically all of your decks. I love you, Wayfarer's Bauble. Moving on, in a somewhat similar vein-ish, Arcane Signet. Now, this is one where when Wizards made it, they pushed it a bit too far, and they actually called it a mistake afterwards. That being said, it is a mistake that is one that they didn't ban, nor would I say is it ban-worthy. Arcane Signet's an artifact for 2. Tap, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Now, this is just a mana rock that's just, like, strictly better than the vast majority of other mana rocks and what it does because, well, it's efficient for most mana rock standards. Again, cost 2, taps for 1, and it also is effective at filtering your mana, at fixing your mana, because it can tap for any of the colors that you care about generally. So there you go. And basically, when it comes to a mana rock, you want it to cost 2, tap for 1. That's basically what you want. You want to ramp on turn 2 for the most part, or you at least, at the very least, want your mana rock to be half as efficient as its cost. Now, there is one exception to that. We'll get to that in a little bit, but still. Arcane Signet checks that efficiency box, checks the effective box, and again, getting your mana fixed. Again, when it comes to like this compared to a Wayfarer's Bauble is still safer ramp because, again, you are going to get that land, which is basically a protected resource for the most part. Versus if so in Vandal Blast, your Arcane Signet is gone. That doesn't mean it's not a good card. It's an amazing card. It's an incredible card. But yeah, if you're utilizing other mana rocks above it, there are very few that I would utilize above this one in the vast majority of decks out there because, again, efficient, effective, amazing card. Next up, yeah, okay, I'll break it right here. Soul Ring, all right? $1.20. This is where I went outside of my dollar territory because, yeah, Soul Ring makes nearly, again, almost every single deck better. There are certain decks that don't use it and that should not use it. There are exceptions. That being said, there are definitely players out there like, you should chuck that into every single deck. Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue against that for, again, the vast majority of decks. An artifact for 1, taps for 2. A card that is banned in a multitude of other formats. Should probably be banned in Commander, but it's kind of like, the mascot of Commander. It's never going to get banned in Commander, okay? Now, if they redid the format, from scratch, and they were like, okay, this is on the ban list, this is not, this on the ban list is not, this card would most definitely be banned because, well, there are no other mana rocks that are anywhere near as efficient as this one that are legal. Again, this is, all right, I cost 1, I tap for 2. We just talked about how costing 2 and tapping for 1 is the expectation. In fact, a fine mana rock if you have that, basically. And this says, I'm basically 4 times as efficient as everything else. I actually gain you mana the turn that you play me, which is insane. There's also a lot of combos that work around this one because, again, it is cheaper than it actually taps for. So yeah, like Tidespout Tyrant type combos. Yeah, there's a lot of combos out there with this one, but still, this is a card where you can just chuck it in any deck, and it's like, all right, if you turn one this, you're instantly ahead of all of your opponents. So there you go. Again, a card that I didn't want it. Not that I didn't want it to make the list, but I was trying my best, again, to get it all the cards underneath the dollar. And this one I had to still include on it because it is such an iconic card and one that, yes, does make nearly every single Commander deck better. Next up, Escape Tunnel. Now, if you have not heard about this gem, well, you need it right now for many, many decks. In fact, you're probably already using its cousin in a deck, and yeah, you should be using this one, not instead, but alongside of. Escape Tunnel is a land that taps, so you sacrifice it, go get any basic land out of your library, put on battlefield, tap, then shuffle, or, yes, there is an or. Tap, sacrifice this, target creature power 2 less can be blocked this turn. This is an insanely good card, because Evolving Wilds already sees an insane amount of play, somehow more than Terramorphic Expanse, even though they're the exact same card. It's very strange. Anyways, both of those cards see an insane amount of play. Being able to sacrifice, go and get any basic, it is basically a great way to, well, again, fix your mana super early in the game or whatever you need to. It's also a great way to utilize, well, landfall triggers too, or, you know, out of graveyard effects for lands, or yeah, if you've got like play land in your graveyard, congratulations, with one fetch land, you always can get it back again with a Rudimech Excavator, and there you go, you're hitting your land drop every single turn. That being said, yeah, it also has a secondary mode on it where you're like, oh, let's just make something unblockable. Yeah, okay, so this extra, you know, icing on top of the cake, again, a card that would already see play if it was just a copy of Evolving Wilds, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, you get to make something unblockable. It's also not that limited either. Yes, it is limited by power. Sure, okay, that's fine. There's still plenty of amazing creatures with low power that you're going to want to get through that maybe have some combat damage triggers, some absurd triggers that can just take players out. And also, of course, you've got ways to potentially pump a creature after it gets through. Essentially like, oh yeah, hatred, you're gone. By the way, go away. Or this is a good way to, you know, politic with an opponent. Be like, hey, if you don't swing with me with that little creature that's got that combat damage trigger, you know, like, I'll make it unblockable and you hit my other opponent, you know? Okay, cool. So yeah, there is a lot that goes on with it. Just one little card right here, and it gets just 18 cents. And you're already playing Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse. Go play this one too. It's incredible. Moving on, Myriad Landscape. Now, I will argue with those players out there that decide to take ramp out of their deck because they're like, well, I've got a Myriad Landscape, so I don't need this rampant growth. Disagree. That being said, yeah, this is basically ramp in your deck off of a land, which is incredibly rare to have. It enters tapped and taps for a colorless. By paying 2, you tap, you sacrifice this land. Go get 2 basic land cards that share land type, put them on the battlefield tap, then shuffle. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely amazing. This is a great way to, well, yeah, somewhat fix your mana. Again, like an Escape Tunnel, like, you know, Evolving Wilds, you are getting a basic, basically a type of basic. You are fixing your mana, yes. This one, though, some players, you know, make the mistake early on when they start playing. They're like, I get a forest and a plains. No, you get one of the two. You get one basic land type, okay? That being said, you are still ramping. You are still utilizing a land to get ahead of your opponents. Is it a slow land? Sure, it enters tapped. Is it a land that can't fix your mana? Sure. But also, when you need it, it is an amazing way to ramp ahead of your opponents. It's an amazing way to utilize landfall triggers. Again, this one land can get you 3 landfall triggers, which is absolutely absurd, while helping you fix your mana, while getting you ahead of your opponents, while doing your dishes. Just kidding, it doesn't do that. It also doesn't do laundry. What it does do, though, is get you ahead of your opponents with lands. Next up, Command Tower. Now, this one, I think everyone knows about. I think it is the most played card in Commander, actually, when it comes to, like, percentages of decks that use it, which makes sense, because, I mean, the only time you might not play it, literally, again, this is, like, where players argue, like, it's a staple that goes in any deck. It's like, well, did you consider, monocolor decks? Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, outside of monocolor, outside of colorless, you basically throw it into the deck. There's no reason not to throw it into the deck. Like, again, like, I would be hard-pressed not to throw it into basically every single deck I could, basically. 24 cents for this gem. Tap, add 1 mana of any color to your commander's color identity. Again, a card that, like, Yeah, it's absurdly powerful. It's absurdly pushed. I mean, it's not a card that would ever be banned. Obviously, there's no reason for it to be banned. It's just like, again, you've got like all of the other incredible expensive lands, and it's like, yeah, but have you heard of Command Tower? Because this one's like better than all of those. It's crazy. Yeah, it fixes your mana completely. It's on a land. Luckily, it's not like a basic land type that you could tutor out, but still, like, it's an insane card. It's an insanely good card. Actually, there's like one snake that tutors for it specifically. Anyways, a crazy good card. Yeah, if you haven't heard of it, don't know where you've been all this time, unless you just came into Commander now, and hello, hi, nice to meet you. Enjoy the format. Command Tower, basically in all your decks except for, monocolored and colorless. There you go. Okay, a land that you might not have heard, though, that I will say is an incredible card to utilize in your decks. Now, is it a bit harder? Okay, when you are at like 4 or 5 colors, absolutely it is, because, well, you got to really make really tough decisions when it comes to utility lands for those colors, since you've got so many colors to fix. That being said, it is such a good card that you just might want to do that as well. And if you're at 3 or less colors, my goodness, this is a house. 17 cents, land desert. Taps for a colorless, pay 2 taps, sacrifice a desert, exile all graveyards. Now, if you are playing a graveyard-centric deck, sure, don't utilize that. That being said, with this is one that I think is so underplayed that I really wanted to highlight it, that it is one where, again, it does an incredible job for you that many players out there kind of just ignore when it comes to, like, removal. Like, there's like, okay, like, I've got removal for artifacts, I've got removal for enchantments, I've got removal for creatures, I've removal for this and that, and they forget about graveyards. And the thing is, if you are playing against a graveyard deck, they can just go off so easily if you've got no way to remove their graveyard, because, well, that is their main resource, and you have no way to stop them from that resource. You have no way to take them down. So because of that, well, they're going to take over the game, they're going to eliminate you, and you're just going to be crying on the sidelines. But if you had a Scavenger Grounds, you've got this land. Again, a land, something that does not take up a spot in your deck really at all, just sitting there, and this is the biggest threat to them. A land. A land is a massive threat to them, and it can prevent them from actually making certain plays because you've got a land in play. Instead of them going, oh yeah, I'm going to play Morality Shift and, like, swap my library with my graveyard and have an absurdly large graveyard and then all the value in the world, instead of doing that, they're going to be like, well, I can't do that because they've got a Scavenger Ground just sitting there. And if I did that, they just get rid of my graveyard. And sure, at some point, maybe they'll pull the trigger, but then you're just like, okay, yeah, pay 2 mana, tap this, and all graveyards are gone. I eliminate all graveyard problems off of a land. This is, again, good defense for you, just preventing graveyard decks from functioning because they are afraid of you activating this. And then when you do activate it, it decimates their game plan completely. It's, again, one that, yes, if you are playing a graveyard-centric deck, don't play because it hits your graveyard as well. So, okay, maybe I'm breaking the rules of this episode a little bit, but hey, I make the rules too sometimes. Anyways, so with this one, it is one that, yes, you should be considering it. I want to get the word out there. Scavenger Grounds is amazing. It is such a good card, and too many players out there do not focus on having something, at least something in their deck that can deal with graveyards. This is an amazing way to do so. Okay, I did not realize this earlier, but I fibbed a little bit, and I apologize for that, okay? I apologize. I'm bringing up Swiftfoot Boots as well. Soul Ring I brought up earlier at $1.20. This is also $1.20. I tried to keep all the cards under the dollar, and I failed you, and I'm so sorry, okay? I'm so sorry. And I promise the rest of this episode will only have cards that are less than $1. At least I believe so. If I make a mistake again, I'm so sorry again. Anyway, Swiftfoot Boots. An equip for 2. Equip creature has Hexproof and Haste. Equip for 1. Now, here's the thing. Hexproof is a broken-ish kind of keyword that Wizards now just literally does not use anymore. In fact, they literally created like a brand new thing like, all right, ward, because they don't want hexproof anymore because hexproof is just such an obnoxiously amazing thing. If you've never seen a Boggles deck in Modern, it's hilarious. I love it. Again, the card Slippery Boggle, just being like, oh, yeah, that tiny little weird dude, yeah, he's amazing. I had a Glade Cover Scout deck back in the day when like mono black, like Pack Rat was like the best thing. I had a Glade Cover Scout like little hexproof deck, and it was hilarious, just like Boggles and Standard. Anyways, that's not the point. Hexproof is just insanely broken in that your opponents literally cannot touch that card. They're like, all right, that creature, it's got hexproof. Yeah, no targeting it. You can only get rid of it with, like, say, Edict effects if I've got no other creatures, or, like, a Wrath. That's basically all you can do. And if that creature's indestructible, they're out of luck. Anyways, haste is also amazing as well. There are very few ways to grant both these things. There's like almost no other ways to grant both these things, right? There's very few ways to grant hexproof this low to the ground, essentially, and again, for any deck out there. It's absolutely insane. And of course, just haste being chucked on top there is so nice. But basically, it's just a way to say, okay, protect my commander for the most part. And yes, if I've got a commander that maybe wants to swing, maybe has an attack trigger, great, awesome, good for me. But for the most part, it's just like, hey, do you want a very easy way to protect your commander? Cool, chuck it into your deck. It's a very, very good card. Of course, obviously, like some decks want it more than others, like Equipment deck, obviously. Voltron deck, sure. Ones that want your commander to swing right away, great. But that being said, it's just like, if your deck revolves around your commander and your commander being in play, you want to keep your commander in play. Give it hexproof. That'll do it. Okay, branching out for these last two cards just ever so slightly. Okay, out of, again, every single deck can use these cards. I am sorry, but Sakura-tribe Elder, if you're not in green, you can't use it. And you wish you could. You definitely wish you could, but you can't, okay? So basically, every green deck is probably using Sakura-tribe Elder and should be, because it's a 1/1 Snake Shaman that costs 2 mana, and it's your best friend for a turn. Sacrifice Sakura-tribe Elder to life for a basic land card, put that card on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Here's the thing. Poor Steve. Oh, Steve. If you're a newer player, this is the nickname is Steve, because STE. Anyways, Steve, you never really stay around for long. You're like out there and you're like, all right, hey, I'm here. Oh wow, this is exciting. What a whole new world. All right, awesome. Oh my gosh, what is happening? I'm being sacrificed. Oh no. Okay, goodbye. Yeah, this is basically what happens with Steve. You play Steve, okay? You're playing a casual game of Commander, and it's early on in the game, and maybe another player has a creature out there, and you're like, all right, hey, does everyone agree that like I can just sacrifice this right now? Like, and go search for my land? But we can all just pretend that Steve's still out there in case I need to, like, chump block. And everyone's like, yeah, this is a reasonable thing to ask because this is a casual game of Commander. I'd like you to do it quicker. Now, if someone's not reasonable at the table, they'll be like, no, well, what about this scenario? Oh, no. Yeah, okay, all right. It just depends on the play group, I guess. But still, to speed games up, which Commander games can get a little long, so speed things up. Yeah, sacrifice Steve, like, right away. Just, like, ask if you can just go get that land now because you're going to do it anyways. And then you can just, utilize Steve as a blocker. It's just basically rampant growth with a potential blocker on it. And also any kind of sacrifice triggers, like an Aristocrat style deck, can offer that as well. It's absolutely incredible. There's really nothing else like it because, again, it's so low to the ground. It's basically just, again, rampant growth amount, but you get a 1/1 temporarily. And then, yeah, you get to ramp off of it. And, of course, if you get any kind of reanimator deck that, like, mass reanimates things, you get Steve back. You're like, Steve, you're back! And Steve's like, oh my gosh, you will not believe the story that I have. Okay, bye, Steve. Oh, no! Steve. And finally, again, branching outside of the initial restriction of, like, all these cards have to be in every single deck. Every single deck that's got white, maybe? There you go. Path to Exile. Instant for a single white mana. Exile target creature controller may search life for a basic land card on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Now, here's the thing. Is that a downside? Sure. You are ramping someone, right? That being said, it can also be an upside, number one. Number two, hey, 1 mana to get rid of literally anything? That's absurd. Literally anything out there, you're like, hey, I don't like that. That creature, you go away. Permanently. Exile. Again, graveyard decks are just in shambles going like, what? You got rid of my creature that I can no longer get back because it's in the eternities. Yeah. Oh, Giant Eldrazi? Don't care. 1 mana, you're gone. Does not matter. Your commander, okay, in play. You spent 8 mana for that? Cool. All right, it's gone for 1. Yeah, you give them a land. Sure, you are ramping them. Sure. There are also certain players out there that don't play enough basics, and at a certain point, they're not going to be able to get a land off that, which is hilarious, and that happens. And also, again, you can also use it on your own creature. You can actually ramp yourself. You can turn one of your creatures basically into a Steve. By at some point going like, oh, you know what, yeah, I don't really need this servo in play. I drew this, like, later. Like, let's just ramp off of 1 mana. Sure, okay, goodbye, servo. And, yeah, I'll just ramp. Cool, good for me. Yeah, you can use this in a flexible manner, but again, at the very least, it's just like, oh, yeah, get rid of any of the biggest threats on the board for 1 mana. It's insane. It's absurd. Pick it up. And with that, this episode is come to a close. As always, comment below with your thoughts on it. And, of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.